What do you consider is your greatest sexual achievement? I was able to climax once based on the power of thought alone. This isn't mine, but on a UK TV show, The Graham Norton Show, when it was on Channel 4, an audience member retold the following tale. I was giving my boyfriend a BJ, and just as was about to climax I felt like I was about to sneeze. Couple of seconds later he climaxed. I sneezed and his baby batter shot right out of my nose and onto his stomach. Receiving a blowjob in a ski gondola with magnificent alpine panorama in front of me, and many friends in the gondola behind having no clue, and my GF going all in because she knew she only had 8 minutes to finish me off. My current GF used to tell me she would rarely orgasm in all her previous relationships. She now does every time. But my most memorable one was a Dutch girl on Tinder that was around for only one night, and when we were done she said holy fuck, yes, and put up her hand for a high five. I quitted my porn addiction after getting married and I haven't watched a single porn for over 10 years now. Fingered a girl in a treehouse, then came down and got a blowjob from her best friend in a bush. I was giving my wife a session dedicated to her, and after a while she has her first orgasm. There hadn't been any penetration up to that point, so she asked me to get on top and rough her up. She tells me rough penetration after an orgasm sometimes feels as good as the orgasm itself. Anyway, I get on top and I last all of about a minute because I'm already at 99% just from her moaning and seeing her squirm for the previous half hour. She can't tell what's going on and asks me if I'm coming, and when I tell her I am, she starts her second orgasm just as I've finished mine. It's so intense it feels like she's about to pinch my wiener off, and then she squirts for the first time. My wife has had multiple orgasms a couple times before, but this was the first time I had ever seen a woman squirt. I always thought it was a fake porn thing, but she confessed to me that she'd been feeling the sensation more often over the past few months and had been holding back. We keep towels next to the bed now. Getting laid because I was a virgin for the 7th time. Having my then GF come real hard on my B-day and getting multiple BJs and not stopping till she called it quits. I am still astounded by that achievement. She was 2. Edit. It was her first time climaxing. I was 22. He was 19 and only had sex once or twice with an inexperienced girl. We had an 11-day love affair. He was gorgeous. I think the hottest guy I have ever slept with. I rocked his world. He lived about 4 hours away and we didn't have enough to sustain a relationship. But damn, that was a great 11 days. I'm sure he'll never forget it. I've shared this before, but it was such a unique achievement. Once I was having sex with my girlfriend after taking a shower and I had water stuck in my ear. At the exact same time as I came, my ear popped and I felt washed over by such a bizarre and amazing combination of sensations. It's really hard to describe how good this orgasm felt. Truly ineffable. I've tried many times since then to replicate this, but have not been successful so far. Was getting a blowjob while Jeopardy was on TV and got all the answers right. My best friend at the time had sex with my ex soon after we broke up and was still kind of working on things, who I had been dating for years. Met up with his ex a while after, who I always thought was absolutely gorgeous, and had the same success. Hooked up with a girl who claimed she couldn't orgasm without self-stimulation. Proved her wrong 15 minutes later, and then again 20 minutes after that. 4 different girls in 4 days, with one instance of 2 in the same day. 2 of the girls I had never met before. College welcome week was crazy that year. Made my ex-BF come from poking his belly button really hard. He said it had never happened before and I've never tried it to anyone since, but I always laugh when I think about it and still don't fully understand how it happened. I was on a Tinder date with a woman who was very forthcoming about just having a lot of casual dates and casual sex if the date goes well. She asked me, "What do you know about female orgasms?" I said, "I know that regardless of gender, most people need about 4 minutes on average of consistent meaningful stimulation in order to climax." She giggled and did that CHEAOOOK thing. About an hour later, I proved it. Banging 2 women in 1 day, I guess. Good old times. Having sex for 2 hours. Still holding an erection after that time and for some reason couldn't come at all. I was shit-faced drunk. 2. I still to this day don't know how that combination is fucking possible. The girl was super hot as well. I got an ex of mine to orgasm so hard she began spasming like she was having a seizure and I called 911 for help. They arrived 4 minutes later. We were only 2 blocks from a hospital. I forgot. They showed up as my ex finally stopped spasming. She was super embarrassed and one of the paramedics looked at me and nodded before leaving. I gave a classmate one of those seizury orgasms once. It was an interesting experience, but then she gave me HPV. Had a note put under our hotel room door thanking us for the nightly audio entertainment. Breaking the bed while having sex. Granted, the bed was 20+ years old and needed replacement, but it still counts. Going down on a lady I was dating and afterwards her stating this is something all women should experience. Was giving oral to a girl and she was obviously making all the right noises. Next thing she stops. So I kinda double down, really putting the effort in. About 15 seconds later she clatters the side of my head with her hand. I'd made her pass out, it was so intense, lol. So I had my first threesome literally 4 days ago, which had been a bucket list item since I was 17. 34 now. It had been something I fantasized about, and luckily I'm with a girl who I can be completely open and honest about my sexual desires to, and vice versa. We ended up hooking up with her best friend. And my GF curated it exactly how I had fantasized about it, and much more, and we all had an incredible time. It was absolutely bonkers hot. After we finished and her friend left the next she asked me if it was everything I had hoped for. I told her I think I just won life, and we are doing it again in 2 days. People, find someone who matches your sex drive and kinkiness. Sexual honesty with a partner you truly love results in the best achievements. A stranger and I knowing what we wanted with a glance. Kissing and seconds later fucking on a loading dock without a word ever spoken between us. Gave a woman an orgasm by rubbing her nipples. Touching a boob for the first time. It's all been downhill from there. I've always been proud of my full alphabet. I had a goal to be fucked by guys with names starting with each letter of the alphabet. There was a bit of time where I didn't think I'd manage, but after 4 years I finally finished the alphabet. Smiling face, licking lips. At a hotel. King size bed shifted roughly 6 inches away from where it started. Had sex with a lot of girls in one sorority. The thing is though is I wasn't a dick about it, so I was never hated by any of them. So weird being around a lot of them in public. 3 different girls in one day. Did that twice. I was a man whore. Had a surprise 3-way with my GF at the time and her best friend. Literally had to go to the bathroom to give myself a mirror pep talk. The lady and I went 9 times one day. To be young and in lust, and chafed. Had a threesome in a Ford Fiesta, a tight squeeze in more ways than one. Banging this 28 years old Colombian redhead for losing my virginity. She left me 2 weeks later though when she found out that it wasn't okay for her to have sex with a 17-year-old. And she wouldn't believe me when I told her that I was 10 years younger than her. Edit. Word. Took mushrooms with my ex on several occasions and near the end of the trip we would fuck for a good 3-4 hours. Snack breaks and a quick doobie in between, but it was almost non-stop. Getting her off over and over and myself too was just incredible. Good pervy times. Bit different of an achievement. Honestly just allowing myself to be sexual at all without shame. I was mostly conditioned for the majority of my teen years that even mentioning sex is bad besides to learn sex ed. God forbid you ever even have it besides to make babies. Parents are lightening up on it, but are still very uncomfortable with it in regards to willingly letting their kids decide what to do with their bodies. Nevertheless, of what my parents think, I enjoy the hell out of every session I get with my boyfriend. I just never ever talk about the matter with my parents. I ate out my wife once and apparently I was doing too good. She punched me in the forehead out of nowhere and I asked what the hell. She said she was about to black out. I still bring that one up with her. Knocked up my wife on our first try at having kids. First ultrasounds showed twins. I joke that we have a 200% success rate. My boyfriend made me squirt once and has been trying so hard to do it again since. I would say that is his greatest achievement so far. He enjoyed it more than I did, lol. I turned down a threesome with 2 strippers I worked with because I had a crush on a different girl. A few months later one of the strippers tested HIV positive. It'd say dodging a threesome that saved your life. Long time ago. is a pretty good achievement. Edit yes. Y'all, I am well aware the transmission rate is low in that direction and it is not a life sentence. For those of you who lived through the 70s and 80s, we didn't know that back then, and if you got AIDS you were not going to do well. This is why I put long time ago in the post, because it was a long time ago. About 8.5 months ago, my wife and I decided we were going to start trying to have a baby. My wife even joked around that if I could get her pregnant by February she would buy me a brand new Boston Bruins jersey. She always had this insecurity that she might not be able to get pregnant or it might be tough. I decided to make things a little spicy and banged her right on the kitchen table, and she said it was her favorite time. Anyway, I should get to meet my daughter in about 2 weeks. I will be wearing my jersey.